From monsters having tongues to an impossible to get achievement, there is a lot that you didn't know once existed in Geometry Dash. Here are 67 things that only the most experienced Geometry Dash veterans know. By the way, be sure to subscribe, because at 200k subscribers I'll change my profile picture to a sheep. Let's go! Let's first go from the year 2024 all the way back to 2013, where our first fact takes place. By scrolling through all the main levels right now, you can see everything looks normal, but in 2013 it was different. As you can see here, the font looks all weird, the letters are all over the place and it's just a mess. But we are just starting off slow, with my favorite things coming later in the video, like a never before seen button that immediately got deleted. Not only did the fonts change over the years, the difficulty phases also changed. Right now, Back on Track has the easy difficulty phase, but at the start of GD, it had the normal difficulty phase, even though most people say it's the easiest main level of the game. Let's move forward a couple years. Players were getting more and more diamonds by opening chests and beating quests. 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, and wait, 65,535? Yes, this was the max amount of diamonds you could get back in the day, and almost every top player reached it. Right now it luckily is fixed. In 2014, one by one, people were posting videos of a weird bug occurring to them. They called it the fast music bug. In this year there was a random chance of, instead of your background music sounding like this, it being like this. Pretty weird. What's even worse about these Geometry Dash songs is that when you uploaded a level before the 1.9 update, you could only choose out of the main level songs, like 10 different songs. No custom songs from Newgrounds, no, just the plain, old, boring songs. Let's skip to the 26th of August 2015. This was the date Geometry Dash 2.0 released, and everyone was excited to play the new levels. What they didn't know, however, was that the new level Deadlocked could be cheesed. If you would hit the final green orb at 12% very late, you could skip the 3x speed portal and do the wave part with ease. I wish it was still here, because sadly it got fixed a couple days later. Once, for a while, Geometry Dash had a bug where you could literally beat a locked main level if you spammed some buttons. You could go to Clubstep, and if you hadn't unlocked it, you'd sometimes be able to open it, making you able to play the level. The Geometry Dash leaderboard has 4 tabs: Top 100, Friends, Global and Creators. But one of these tabs once was different. Back in the day, the Friends section was gone and instead replaced with the Top Week. In this tab you would see players with the most stars obtained in that specific week, and it would refresh every single week. The Friends section probably just wasn't there yet, since RobTop never expected GD players to have friends. Stop! Not just the Friends section was different. The Top 100 tab once was the Top 50 tab, where you could only see the top 50 best players, and instead of all these stats, just the stars and demons. Okay, we can continue now. For our very young veterans, back in 2.1, there was still a feature called the Hall of Fame, containing every level that got rated epic. It was kind of useless though, since in the advanced options you could literally filter on epic levels. Back when Geometry Dash released, not only were the letters all weirdly aligned, but the game also had just 7 levels instead of the 22 we can play right now. This one was pretty known, but a lesser known one is the Witch Monster, almost getting added to the game. This monster looked super goofy and weird, but at the same time, kinda hot. So it's a shame RobTop decided to delete it before even adding it to GD. It would act like all the other monsters and would have been a nice addition. I don't think you've ever noticed that the achievement sound effects were different between the latest and earlier updates, but they slightly are. Right now, getting 2 achievements in a row sounds like this. But before, it sounded like this. Did you notice that the second sound is exactly the same here? A feature that has to come back right now is surprisingly something that was possible in update 1.0. The ability to change your username on the spot. All you would need to do was just clicking on your username, and there you go. You can now change your name to whatever you want instead of having to go through a lot of suffering before being able to change your name. Stereo Madness, the first level in GD, has the most simple decoration of any level. But did you know there's an object in here that 0% of Geometry Dash players nowadays use in their level? This block right here. It looks very simple, just half a block, but if you go into the editor, there is no way to find it. It got deleted pretty early into the game, and you can only use this other half block now. The Geometry Dash home screen looks cool, but this stupid thing in the bottom right corner still is as useless as ever. It doesn't do any anything at all. 10 years ago, however, this was different. It had the Boomlings game in it. RobTop has now deleted the game. And one other game I had never heard about before, called Memory Mastermind. It looked like this, and I don't know what to think about it. The supporter icon in 2.1 was the easiest icon to obtain by clicking on this lock the icon is hidden behind. At the start of Geometry Dash this wasn't so easy though. Back then you had to raid Geometry Dash before being able to obtain it. But because the game got taken down, because they didn't allow RobTop to manipulate people into raiding his game, it was changed. The last coin in Stereo Menace actually was different once. It was way harder than it is right now, and just look at the comparison between the old and the new version. I now know why older players struggled with this coin. Holy. In update 1.0, GD looked like a mess. But not only that, the achievements were a little different. Whenever you would get a new color by beating a level or something else, instead of the color being a circle, it was square, which makes the most sense, since you can change your color by clicking square boxes. I don't know why RobTop decided to change it, but it's not a big deal. You know a level is featured if it has a glow circle around it and a star count below it. But at the start of Geometry Dash, RobTop was like, come on guys, this is useless. Let's not use this stuff. Just place down a difficulty phase and call it a day, which is exactly what happened. You barely can tell the difference between a featured and a normal rated level here. Wait, something really weird is coming up. In the fourth big update of the game, there was a bug that somehow caused players with more than 5 demons or 500 stars to randomly die the level without any explanation. I have no clue why. Just like the fact that at the start of Geometry Dash you couldn't dislike levels. You could only like them, just as you can do with this video on YouTube. Okay. We're finally at the monster with the tongue I was talking about in the intro, boys. It never was added in the game, but in update 2.0, there was a sneak peek picture from RobTop that had these monsters added. 2 of which had a green weird tongue that looked like a troll from your icon. It's very goofy, but I wouldn't mind it if it got added. Under the like button, there's a star button, with which you can rate levels from the auto to the demon difficulty. Wait, what? Why did the auto and demon difficulty just get deleted? Well, in the first GD update, you only were able to rate levels from normal to insane, no other difficulty. This button here is the best thing that ever happened to Geometry Dash. You are able to record videos with this feature called Every Play, and just by enabling a single button, all your replays will be saved, which could immediately be uploaded to YouTube. Sadly, in 2015, this feature got disabled. Fast forward to 9 years later. It's 2024 and 2.2 just released. Hooray! There were a lot of bugs at the beginning of this release, and not everything went as planned. For example, the paths were way too expensive. 50,000 orbs. Like, I can barely afford 10% of one path, let alone all 10 of them. RobTop also saw this and changed the price of a path from 50 to 25,000. I still can't afford it though. Imagine the pain of all these old players though. Like, you haven't even heard the worst thing they had to go through. In the first year of Geometry Dash its release, players could only use the one-time speed portal, meaning they had to move very slow the entire time. Just like the fact that there were no leaderboards, map packs, secret coins and stars until update 1.6. Horrible. But let's talk about things that actually were added instead of deleted. In 2015, there was a secret coin cheating method where people could get as many RobTop coins as they wanted with a glitch. All you had to do was change some files around, replace it with a modded file, and voila! You got it. Another thing that was in the game for just a couple days was what you can see in this screenshot. It looks normal, but if you zoom on the likes and plays, you can see that the numbers aren't fully displayed. Instead, an M or a K is added, which stands for million and thousand. It was added at the beginning of 2.2 and almost immediately was changed back again. The most popular level, Outer Space, almost has 100 million downloads. But back in January 2017, there was one user who played it when it barely had any likes. If you played it this early, you are a true veteran. Just like if you remember the user Wargak. This player got popular by hacking the hardest levels back in the day like Bloodlust, and people were very confused, ultimately leading to his exposal. His hacked completion got so many views, however, that he got really famous in the community and became known as one of the first Geometry Dash hackers. Alright, time for some glitches. In the early versions of Geometry Dash, for some reason, your ship sometimes did a barrel roll. It looks very goofy once you see it, and actually kinda cool. My friend here doesn't have Geometry Dash installed. He has $4 in his pocket, so sadly he can't buy the game. Oh wait, what is that? A time machine, which takes us back to the year 2016. Oh yeah, in 2016 there was a period when Geometry Dash only was $1 on PC, the cheapest it's ever been. People who bought it back in the day are really old. Think about the most dominating player in the game right now. Is it Zoink? Probably, but he didn't even come close to Mosk, the player who dominated the Geometry Dash leaderboard at the start of GD. At one point, he was the best player and the best creator in the game, clowning on everyone below him. The leaderboard looked quite weird back then, but it could be worse. Like, in the beginning of the 2.1 update, the leaderboards didn't get updated for years, with Miguel, Shaggy and Michigan being in the top 3 the entire time, while in actuality, they were a way lower rank. Luckily, it later got fixed. You can now basically build as high as you want. The borders of the editor are almost infinitely high, but this wasn't always the case. In update 2.0, the height borders were extremely small, and you couldn't build as high into the sky as you can right now. One update later, the magic tab became a thing. It was a feature that added levels with a lot of objects, had some unknown rules for accepting levels, and always had some really weird levels in it. Because it was kinda useless though, one update later it got changed into a tab for levels that are sent to RubTop, which is a way better addition than the magic tab. The infinite jump hack is a very old hack that players use to beat levels without trying. Nowadays you have no clip or a verify hack that immediately lets you upload levels, but years ago you didn't have that. Hacks like these were made by mGhost, and this one made it so the player could jump whenever he wanted. Looking a little stupid to be honest. Did you know that unregistered users who uploaded levels first were named player if their account got deleted? These names later got changed into a single minus character. You can still see a lot of levels from these users online, so check it out. These users were called green users, and they almost always were throwaway accounts. In 2016 there was one instance where a green user appeared on the top 100 leaderboards though, but he most likely was a hacker since he had 5 more coins than there were in the game. If you are a true GD veteran, you will remember when Geometry Dash wasn't playable on PC, meaning players could only play it on their phone, nowhere else. It got added on PC a year later and got an extra graphic feature on which you could choose how good your game would look. I had to type 6 numbers to unlock the password from this level. What a pain. I remember when back in my days, the max amount of numbers you could put in a password was 4. Nobbleboy is a creator who uploaded some extremely famous levels. Bloodlust, Molten Gear, and Astral Divinity? I thought the level always was called God Eater. Well, it was, but Nobbleboy had to change the name of the level due to copyright reasons, eventually leading to it being called Astral Divinity. If you remember most things so far, it is time to move on to even lesser known facts that only the true veterans will remember. Let's see if you were one. Before update 1.9, there was one achievement that almost was impossible to get. The So Close achievement. Nowadays you get it by dying after 95% on a level, which happens to me from time to time, but back then you could only get it when dying at 99% into a level, which is almost impossible to occur. A level needs to be extremely long for this to even be possible, and even then, most people don't die at the final jump in a level. At the very beginning of GD, something that now sounds crazy was able to actually be done. You were able to beat a level in practice mode and upload it to the servers. Yes, just clicking the upload button would be enough. Imagine if people could do that nowadays. We would have impossible extreme demons in the game. 10 years ago, I was barely a teenager and only played with Legos. But for Geometry Dash players, it was a special day. On Valentine's Day, people's names were changed to something loving, and it looks super sweet. RubTop should do that next year again. The Nightmare and the Lightning Road are some of the most famous levels, mainly due to how extremely easy they are. But it's said both levels should be around 7 to 8 stars instead of 10. What these people didn't know is that RubTop actually rated both of them 8 stars for a bit. In December 2013 this happened, but because RubTop didn't like the change, he returned our demon rating back. Level leaderboards for the most part are pretty accurate, with only real progress being shown. A couple years ago, this was different. On almost every level, the leaderboard would be spammed with hackers who had 100% with coins on the level, even though there sometimes weren't even any coins you could obtain. Wow, only 15,000 people in the world have heard of this one, the first ever recorded progress of the game. The title of the video is Geometry Dash iPhone 5 HD Gameplay Review, and was recorded one day after Geometry Dash its release. And the first ever progress is 1%. Bruh. Apparently the achievements haven't always looked the same. I thought it always was similar to how it currently is, but no. In the trailer of the game, at the end, you can see the achievements looking like this. It kind of reminds me of those cars from medieval games, but at least the percentage completed circle looks kinda cool. Okay, veterans, do you remember the 1.2 trailer? If you check out RobTop's YouTube channel, it doesn't exist, because RobTop deleted it quickly after uploading. YouTuber OGD Sneak Peeks somehow got the footage back though, and it looks like this, being just 12 seconds long. Pretty cool. The editor of update 1.4 is cursed. Right now you have different sections for the icons and colors, but here you had everything on one page, even the ship. Crazy. When you go to the editor and then click on the pause button, you can see 5 buttons. And in every update, they seem to have been the same, except for one super tiny detail. The green bars were slightly thinner before in comparison with the bars we can see in the game right now, but it definitely looked worse. Okay, 3 things only editor veterans know. Out of the hundreds of blocks, these 4 blocks once were better. And I'm just gonna say it. Years ago, when they still had a border, you didn't have to put platforms around it to make the player collide with it. Now it's just a boring piece of decoration. Also, slopes didn't used to have corners like they do now. The white corner now extends a little out of the block, but before it looked perfect, with nothing sticking out. And the final editor thing is a button that used to say tint ground. I'm not sure what it does. It might change the color of the ground or something, but nobody knows. Okay, time to showcase the final 8 hand selected things I found the most interesting. Vamos! The level fly once was used to troll streamers or your friends and was really famous back in the day. It starts off really normal but eventually jumpscares you and countless of people fell for this trick. The only triggers that got deleted by RobTop were the background and ground triggers. They could color the background and ground and were deleted since the color trigger already was able to do both of these things. Look at these beautiful souls, all in different colors. Red, pink, green, it can be any color you want. In almost every previous update, however, this wasn't possible. It could only have one color, black. Kinda boring. Google Plus is similar to Facebook and Twitter. You can make groups in here and chat with people. But there's one big difference. Nobody knows about it. Except for RobTop, because in the 6th update, he added it to the game. He deleted it quickly after, probably because it wasn't a success, but even though it was a useless feature, some people made Geometry's clans and actually got some members. The ship has always looked the same, right? No. For a couple months, it had a shade, making it look a little bit darker than it is right now. One of the only levels that RobTop has changed by himself was the Dialp by I the Darky. Previously, it was named the Delby, which in Russian means this, but luckily RobTop saw it and changed it. Right now, you can have 6 statistics on your profile. Stars, moons, coins, user coins, demons and creator points. But back in the day, this was just 5. Everything except for moons. And the stat bar also was way more spaced out than it is right now. The final thing only all Geometry's players know is my channel having 200k subscribers. Wait, I still have 100k subs. Guys, we need 200k right now. Come on, we can do this. I'll make my profile picture a sheep. I'm not kidding. Goodbye.